Hey, Futurist Jim Carroll. Listen, I got a virtual event happening this afternoon. It's all about the future of healthcare, and I have another one coming up on that topic in 2 weeks. And the whole virtual thing, it's an amazing voyage. And what I do is I pre-tape some of my sessions just so I have them recorded, because who knows what could happen. But look, the technology, the infrastructure in this room is absolutely fascinating. So I'm going to pre-tape this final fourth session. And I go live at 3 o'clock today, and it's actually a 2.5-hour session. It's a town hall for a massive healthcare group, and then a very intimate board of directors session to talk about how has COVID-19 changed healthcare, and what do we really need to do about it. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to run one of my videos. It's about 4.5 minutes long on the future of healthcare, and then I'm going to go live with this final segment, which is also being recorded, so that I simply have it ready for later this afternoon. In case we need it. Have a good one. Hope you enjoy.
We're going to see more change in the world of healthcare and medical care in the next 5 years than we have seen in the last 100. The centuries-old relationship between doctor and patient is changing as a result of the hyperconnectivity that we find ourselves in the world today, and as technology comes to change the speed of innovation in the world of healthcare. I'm Jim Carroll, and I'm a futurist trends and innovation expert, and I spend my time with organizations around the world helping them to understand the key trends which are going to challenge their future and how to turn those trends into opportunity. I will put into perspective the key trends and challenges that come from a world in which the future belongs to those who are fast. There is an absolute acceleration of the science of healthcare. It is estimated that the volume of medical knowledge is now doubling every 8 years. The volume of knowledge that a medical professional needs to know to do his or her job is changing at a furious pace. And that's the context of the innovation that you need to work within as you go forward into a faster future. We are witnessing the acceleration of medical technologies, new forms of diagnosis, new forms of treatment. We are witnessing the impact of the Internet of Things as technology becomes embedded in all kinds of medical devices. Wherever you look, there are furious rates of change which surround us today. And how do you innovate in the context of a world in which change is happening faster than ever before? The impact of the Internet of Things is absolutely staggering. Every device which is a part of our daily life is becoming plugged in, and it is certainly happening quickly with medical device technology. It changes the very nature of the devices that we are putting out into the marketplace. It provides for opportunities to do things we haven't done before, but it presents unique challenges in terms of the very architecture and role of those products. Are we thinking these through in terms of what we need to be doing to align ourselves to a world in which the world of medical technology is truly changing at the speed and pace of computer technology? It is the era of acceleration, and physicians are changing as quickly as our world is changing. Think about the next generation physician coming into the world of healthcare. He or she is arriving with their iPhone or their iPad. They expect to be able to plug in and to be able to instantly access all of the information that they need, including diagnostic information, results on medical tests, and to be able to work in a seamless, wired environment in which everything happens faster than ever before. How do you innovate in the context of very significant behavioral change with the very individuals who are driving forward the pace of change in the industry? What happens as we get this new world of hyperconnectivity is that our expectations of how we interact with the world are changing. We're all used to using iPhones and iPads and very simple devices that have a stunningly simple design interface. We need to bring the same type of design thinking to the medical devices that we might be putting out into the marketplace today. And that can be a significant challenge, but it can also be a significant opportunity. We need to challenge ourselves in terms of the skills and capabilities that we have. If we're in a world in which medical knowledge is increasingly becoming obsolete overnight as new medical knowledge comes to the forefront, what are we doing to ensure that we've got the capabilities for just-in-time knowledge, the ability to get the right knowledge at the right time for the right purpose, for the right situation? All of these changes are happening faster than you might think. I'm dealing with organizations around the world in pharmaceuticals and healthcare who are realizing that everything they know, every single assumption they've operated by, all of the business rules which have applied in the past might not apply in the future. Because truly, we are in a world in which the future belongs to those who are fast. And I want you to be thinking about, what do you need to do to align yourself to a faster future? How do you need to challenge yourself in terms of skills? How do you need to collaborate more as an organization to accelerate your R&D capabilities? How do you support this next generation of physician or consumer in a world in which their expectations are increasing at an absolutely furious pace?
Look, we know that the world of healthcare is changing at an absolutely staggering speed. The big issue is, what has the impact of COVID-19 and the global pandemic been on where we're going in the future? The big question is, how has healthcare changed as a result of the remarkable, terrifying, but very complex and very inspiring situation that we've been through in this industry over the last many months? Well, in doing my research, there is no shortage of observations from healthcare practitioners, from CEOs, from medical practitioners, from folks throughout the system talking about the fact that, look, something significant has happened here. We have learned something extraordinary. It's caused all of us to think about everything differently. It's allowed us to, all of our systems to realize just how adaptable we are in the world of healthcare. Another observation, that we've definitely seen an increase in innovation simply by necessity. We had to get things done. The CEO of Scripps Health out in San Diego, I've seen more adoption of innovative ideas and technology in the last 2 months than I've probably seen in the last 10 years. The important issue is this: how do we keep this innovative mindset in place? How do we capitalize on what we've learned? How do we take all of this unique experience that has come through COVID-19 and make sure that as we eventually someday get to some sort of a new world, that we've learned from the experiences that we've gone through? The important thing to realize is this: a lot of folks are using the phrase "a new normal." I hate that phrase. I don't think there is any new normal. There's just today, and there's a very different tomorrow. Everything we've known in terms of how we've operated, how we've been structured, how we ingest new ideas into our organization has changed significantly as a result of COVID-19. So it is very useful and instructive to take a look at the lessons we've learned and the experience that we've been through. There's a lot of fascinating statistics, for example, on the fact that telehealth, virtual healthcare, it's here. It's not going away. It's here to stay. Virtual visits. A McKinsey study indicated that 11% of consumers pre-COVID were using virtual with their healthcare practitioners in the healthcare system. It's now up to 46%. Think about it. We've had a massive influx of people who've come into the world of virtual. And they happen to like it. Telehealth is actually proven to reduce ER and hospitalization by 83 and 75% respectively. These are staggering numbers. There is a 75% satisfaction rate with the virtual visits, according to one survey. 61% of doctors ranked digital health technology, including virtual, as the biggest opportunity that came from COVID. 44% experienced greater collaboration across multiple medical disciplines as a result of finding themselves in new ways of working together. And so that's why what we've got to do is we've got to crystallize on what we've learned. Every morning I get up and I take some photo from a stage somewhere. This is the quote that I put out this morning. It's time to capitalize on the speed that we've achieved, because what comes next is even faster. So what are the rules that we've learned as a result of COVID-19? Well, number one, there is no going back to the old world of healthcare. We need to appreciate that this is massively transformative, and there are different expectations, different realities, different skill sets, different forms of collaboration, a very significant impact on what we think about in terms of science. There's no going back to where we were. So how do we take what we had and how do we turn that into an opportunity going forward? You go back to my original comments about the Jetsons. We thought the future was far away. It's actually here even faster than ever before. Number two, virtual is here to stay. It's not going to go away. This is now a significant new architectural component of our entire virtual and going forward healthcare system. Number three, there's been an absolutely massive acceleration of global collaborative science. During all of these stages of the pandemic, I've followed a lot of medical professionals, some of the leading researchers around the world. And it truly was magical to watch what was happening in terms of their ability to share insights, share information, accelerate research into the vaccine, accelerate research into every single aspect of what we needed to do as a medical profession and a scientific profession and a pharmaceutical profession to deal with the realities of what was occurring. I also followed a tremendous number of ER and emergency room doctors, and truly something interesting was going on. There was a lot of sharing of emergency and ER protocols via Twitter, via social networks, via new collaborative networks that were springing up between ER doctors in New York and California and other hotspots. This was something significant. I think that's going to have long-term implications going forward because all of them learned something new about how to challenge established medical protocols to deal with the reality of what was occurring at an absolutely fascinating and staggering speed on the ground. Another aspect is this. I think bold ideas are no longer easily dismissed. I think we've got to realize that something significant has happened in our world. For example, I spoke to a tremendous number of seniors care conferences over the last 15 years. And I talked about the fact that we were seeing the emergence of new technologies which might provide comfort and care as we re-architected the seniors care industry to more community care, more home care. And I talked, for example, about the parotherapeutic robot, a robotic device that might be used to provide this comfort and care in a new world of care at home. Well, people laugh at this crazy idea, dumbest idea I ever heard. They're actually looking at this much more seriously today as an opportunity going forward. Supply chain weaknesses were highlighted. Look what happened with PPE, and look at the examination that occurred as we realized a lot of things were going wrong in terms of medical and hospital supply chains. And I think we've learned a lot of lessons through that. How do we ensure that we fix that going forward? There was very much a new appreciation for big data in medicine. We've talked about this for years. I've talked about, for example, the emergence of real-time analytical predictive healthcare dashboards. It's a mouthful, but it's the concept that we are evolving to the point where we can now predict the emergence of healthcare conditions and healthcare demand in real time. And I think we've learned a tremendous amount about that through COVID-19. New efficiencies override old methodologies. I think hospitals learned to operate with new efficiencies. I think they, obliterated a lot of the challenges that existed before. Again, how do we capitalize on that going forward? Sadly, one of the worst aspects of COVID-19 is that the healthcare reality crisis went supernova. I wrote a post in 2017, which was sadly bang on, the emerging healthcare reality crisis. And I said, we're now in a situation in which there is a group of people in the population who choose to believe what they want to believe. They will disregard science, they will disregard reality, and that's going to have profound implications on the healthcare system going forward. And this, I think, is one of the worst lasting legacies of where we've been with COVID-19. But bottom line, I think what has happened here is bold healthcare goals have gone mainstream. And how do we make sure that we can include that within our strategic plan? No idea is too dumb. No idea is too ridiculous. No concept is too far-fetched, because the future is coming at us faster than ever before. And that's what we need to capitalize as we go on, forward into this world of healthcare change. The key thing is this. What you need to think about is that truly we live in a transformative period of time. And that's why my most recent book that came out just before the pandemic, and I'm not talking about this to plug the book, but to put the concept in your mind. The title of the book is a stage concept that I've used over the last 15 years. That what we really need to do to think about the future is we need to think big, we need to start small, we need to scale fast. Futurist Jim Carroll.